Hey guys, how's it going? It's Andy from Magoo Investing. Welcome back. On this episode of Robinhood Top Stocks, we're going to be breaking down FedEx, ticker symbol FDX. And there's actually a requested video, so if there's a company you'd like me to go over in a future video, please leave it in the comment section down below. I know I kind of have a backlog of them going right now, but there's only so much time where I can be making these videos, so if you have a video or a topic you'd like me to go over, please leave it in the comment section down below. And before we get started, I'd really appreciate it if you guys hit that like and subscribe button, as it would help my channel out a lot. So I feel like most people know what FedEx is, but just kind of a quick summary is they are a shipping and logistics giant, and they focus more on time-sensitive material, whereas UPS focuses more on these small packages that don't have as much of the time-sensitive aspect to them. And so the time-sensitive is very important for talking about why they used to partner up with Amazon. And so when Amazon rolled out their 2-day shipping, FedEx kind of took over a majority of that shipping and logistics problem to help them with that. And so they had been partners for a while, and then kind of recently they ended their talks. They no longer are partners, and the stock has fallen heavily. And so in this video, we're going to be talking about what I see for the short and long-term potential of FedEx, and kind of talk about if their stock can recover. As for pretty much almost 2 years now, the stock has been sliding, and there's kind of no end in sight at this point. And so there's a lot of things to talk about, and let's get right into it. And so as a business move, it makes a lot of sense for why Amazon ditched working with FedEx. From everything that I saw, FedEx was more expensive, and now that Amazon has their own fleet of planes and just kind of the logistics to be able to handle 2-day and now 1-day shipping, which is just crazy to think about, it makes sense why they ditched them. I'm pretty sure they had like a 40% savings, and when you're a company as large as Amazon, 40% is a lot of money over the course of a year. So on the Amazon side of it, it makes a lot of sense. For FedEx, it's kind of a huge hit, and one of the bigger aspects of it is Amazon is 50% of all of the e-commerce in the United States. And so when you're taking away 50% of the pie, it makes sense why FedEx has been sliding for so long. So this slide on FedEx stock can be traced back to almost exactly 2 years ago. And it just happens to be at the exact same time the trade war started. This kind of makes a lot of sense. As the trade war comes in, there's more uncertainty about the future markets. And when there's uncertainty, there's probably not as much goods being shipped, and FedEx gets hurt by that. And so we're at the point now where this is going to be the 4th straight quarter of declining earnings, and the stock has fallen for 2 years. So just kind of thinking, when could this possibly end? And although it looks doom and gloom, we've talked about some other companies on this channel that have been sliding for a while, GameStop, Chesapeake Energy, and I haven't said a lot of good things about them. But I think with how well established FedEx is, I think they'll recover. And I've got 2 examples to talk about for why I think that. And so on the short-term charts, there's kind of been a recent bounce on FedEx. I don't think this is an indication that the stock's going to recover and everyone should go in and just buy as many shares as they possibly can. But when the news goes from their FedEx company got upgraded from a sell rating to a neutral, that's a positive, I guess, overall, because they're no longer considered a sell rating, but you'd kind of rather it to be a buy instead of a neutral. But that's kind of on the way. But one of the huge problems is I feel like FedEx needs to scale down at this point. And so there are 2 companies that really come to mind that have gone up to battle with Amazon and have survived and now thrived since then. And the first one I kind of think about is Best Buy. Best Buy has been in the news a lot recently, just in the, I guess, stock market news, just for how incredible of a year it's had. But if you go back a couple years, back to 2012, the company looked in a really tough spot. Amazon was coming in, there was a lot of news reports coming that people would go into the Best Buy stores, try out the products, and then buy them for Amazon. And so Best Buy removed their CEO after he had some allegations, put in someone new, and they kind of changed how their business worked overall. They did a lot more customer-focused stuff. They did price match with Amazon, and they've recovered since then. And as I throw up the charts, you can see where the stock fell in 2012, and it's been doing great ever since. And the next company I kind of think about when they fought Amazon and kind of have held their own pretty well, which is kind of surprising, is eBay. And so eBay was kind of the first competition that Amazon had, and both of them have kind of thrived in their own little markets. Amazon focuses more on the new stuff and stuff fulfilled by Amazon itself, whereas eBay is more of the marketplace where people go to buy used products and kind of maybe antiques type of thing. The stuff I use it for is for buying older video games, like sports memorabilia and that kind of stuff. Stuff you're not really going to be able to find on Amazon. So these 2 companies have kind of been able to work side by side and not overlap as much, which has helped Amazon, which is this massive company, focus on what they do best, and eBay kind of stay over to the side and not get in Amazon's way. There have been plenty of companies that have tried to compete with Amazon and have not succeeded, but these 2 are the ones I think of that kind of give FedEx the possibility that it can survive in the future. And before we go on the charts and talk about what I see there, I gotta say that I'm not a licensed financial advisor, and I'd highly recommend talking to a professional. Someone can find you the best places to put your money going forward. Now let's hop on over to the charts and talk about FedEx, ticker symbol FDX. All right, so here we are on Robinhood looking at FedEx. You have currently sitting at $165, which is decently expensive for a company. 50% buy rating with 8,646 people owning it on Robinhood. Dividend yield of 1.7%. And then as you come down here, 50% buy, 46% hold, and 4% sell, which is kind of good to see. Here are the recent earnings, and the thing to notice is earnings available December 17th after hours. So coming up pretty soon, which is kind of why I'm talking about it now. As we go on to the charts, let's take a look to see what we see. So this has kind of been the story of FedEx over the past couple years. You have some very nice push up, and then January of 2018, right at the start of the trade wars, FedEx has been falling pretty heavily. You have this giant move right here. I'm not sure if this is earnings or when Amazon pulled the plug on their services. Not totally sure about that one, but that is a major move. Makes sense that after a major move like that, you get some recovery. Kind of why I like talking about buying stocks after huge events, and this is a major drop. Let's see what percentage we have here. 35%, so that's a serious move. And so I've kind of charted out some of the important zones I want to talk about, but as we go back, I just kind of want to show the track record of what FedEx has done in the past. It's high of 275, and let's start going back. Let's see, now we're down in end of 2009. It's at $34. So from end of 2009 up until January of 2018, you went up to $275. So that's incredible returns. I'm assuming this is the slide from the recession, and stock has been doing very well over the past. But as we come here, as I mentioned, in the past 2 years, it's been continually sliding. It's had a little bit of recovery and then drop, a little bit of recovery, drop, and it's been pretty steady. As we come into the smaller time frame, you can see that the stock has mainly been going down, but we've had some attempts to break through these zones. So I'm going to set an alert here if it breaks above this, because it seems like a decent zone. It's tried. You're in the way. I don't want to move that. Darn TD Ameritrade, you're killing me. It's tried to break at 1, 2, 3, tried, came up, tried, came back down. So it's tried breaking this a decent amount of times. So this is kind of an important zone to watch. One of the problems with this, though, is for a short-term trade with earnings coming up, I think it's very possible that the stock, if it beats expectations, even though expectations have been lowered for 4 straight quarters, it can probably push above this, but I don't see a long-term push up. I feel like there's too much volatility in the stock, especially after a 2-year slide. It's not something I'd be super comfortable doing. So one of the important things that I'd be waiting for is a couple, maybe 3 or 4 quarters of consolidation, and then wait for earnings to start picking back up again. When you have earnings that have been sliding for so long, I'd be very wary of taking a position. And even if the stock beats market expectations, the earnings have still been sliding year over year. So I'd be waiting for that, be very patient about that overall. Obviously, the stock has a lot of room to grow back up to its high of 275, but you got to be patient because it's very possible that it continues to slide up until it comes back and retests this January 2018 high. So on CNN, as you can see, earnings growth last year down 88%. You have earnings growth for the next 5 years up 11.5%. Let's see. And so here's the forecast, and this kind of makes a lot of sense. They have the median at pretty much horizontal, the high of 200 and the low of 111. And so I think this is a very fair estimate of kind of the potential that FedEx has in the next year. Obviously, it has some room to grow to the upside, but after 2 years of continually sliding, it makes a lot of sense for the stock to continue to fall. They had their high at 200, which is exactly what I've charted here as a zone. I think that's totally realistic as a goal. I just think that moving to the bottom or moving to the downside is kind of the more realistic option of the two. And so that's kind of why I'd be holding back for a while. When we go to Yahoo Finance, they have it as a buy, overvalued, up in the short, medium, and down the long term with their 1-year price estimate at 172. And so having a company that's been sliding for 2 years have a 1-year estimate of only up $7 and your $165 stock, not super attractive in the aspect that I think there's too much risk involved and not enough reward. $7 on a $165 stock is not attractive enough for me to hold a company that's been falling for 2 straight years. That's just kind of how the market works. So I'd be waiting for the stock to kind of consolidate for a couple quarters, and then once the earnings start to pick back up and they figured out their niche that they could work in, that's when I'd be willing to buy into FedEx, but I don't think now is the correct time. So overall, the charts look kind of decent for FedEx overall. I talk a lot on this channel about buying stocks that are at a discount and have been hit by bad news or bad earnings. And so FedEx is a well-established company, so it checks that box of being a well-known company that I know and use fairly often. The problem is most of the damage that's been done to the stock hasn't been one swift motion. It's been 2 years of continually sliding. And so I don't think this is going to finish anytime soon. And I think the company kind of needs to restructure, kind of slow down their scaling and do what they're very good at. And that's kind of get out of the way of Amazon is what it seems. And I think that FedEx will be fine in the long run. I just don't think this is the bottom yet. I think it's going to take a couple years, maybe a year and a half, until the company figures out exactly what they want to do and kind of the niche that they want to fulfill. Currently, FedEx is a profitable company, so I don't worry about the company going bankrupt anytime soon compared to when we talk about other stuff like GameStop is a major one I think of. They need to restructure in a much larger way, and I don't see any future with them. FedEx, on the other hand, they're good at what they do. The problem is they just got outcompeted by Amazon, which a lot of companies can say the same thing. So for a shorter term trade, I don't really love the things I'm seeing on the chart. I'm sure if you traded it with the upcoming earnings with this Wednesday, you could probably make some money, but you'd also lose some money. Options would kind of be the way I'd be looking at playing this in the future, but I'm not going to be taking a position anytime soon, and I think a short-term swing trade is also very risky. Long-term, and I'm talking really long-term, like 5 years, I think this trade could be profitable. And I think it'll be a couple years until the stock can fully recover from its 2-year slide, and there's a lot of money to be made if it can do that. The problem is I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, and if taking a position in this company looks attractive to you, I think you have to be comfortable in holding it for the long run and going through some choppy times going forward. So let me know what you think about FedEx overall. Do you kind of agree with my assessment that they're going to be successful in the future, but they kind of have to scale back a little bit and figure out exactly what they want to do? Or let me know if you think I'm just kind of an idiot and you think that FedEx is going to be totally fine and you think this is a great buying opportunity. Let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching this episode of Robinhood Top Stocks. If you liked the video or if you learned something, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button, as it would help my channel out a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.